Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. I just recently got a question via email that was such a great question that I know that you probably have if you're a female and you menstruate, and that is what we're going to talk about today. So I'm not going to say this person's name because I don't know if she has given me permission to announce it, so I am leaving out names. I only give out names of people who ask questions when they are like, can you address this on a podcast and be public about it, and please let me know, that sort of a situation. But this was more of just an email, so I'm just going to read the question aloud and respond. Okay. So she says, I always have trouble with food, motivation, and energy around my period. I know what I should be doing, but everything just goes out the window when that comes around. I would love some help in that area if possible. So this is such a great question and such a common question. And it's also so imperative that you learn how to stay consistent before and during your period. Because if you are regular in your menstruation, then you are probably getting a period every 21 to 30 days or so. Everyone is different. But the point is that you get your period every single month. Okay, so if every single month you're having trouble with food, motivation, and energy, it's nearly impossible to be consistent. And consistency is what breeds success and healthy habits over time. So I'm going to be teaching you today how you can stay consistent even when you don't feel like doing something, even when the cravings are high or your energy is low. All right. So I want to first kind of share with you what I had shared with her, and then she had kind of come back and just said, can you explain this a little deeper? So I want to kind of just share that with you. So what I had said to her is that mood changes and cravings during PMSing is normal, which is very true. It is very, very normal. You're going to feel extra hungry or tired or bloated. You're just not going to feel well. And so what I think a lot of people fight with is kind of two avenues, right? And so if they have these cravings or they're extra hungry, they will either go one or the other way. So one way is, I'm PMSing, so I could eat whatever I want, I can have as much as I want or whatever, and almost make it as an excuse, as a reason to kind of, throw in the towel and start over on Monday sort of a situation, or start over when it's over. But we had just identified, if you do that, we already know what that cycle looks like, that binge restrict. It just keeps you stuck in that cycle, and it's not really going to help you in the long run. Okay. With that said, when you are PMSing, your body does need a little bit of extra calories to help with that process. And your body is probably just telling you, I would love for you to kind of slow down a little bit. I am feeling tired. I need some, chance to recharge. And yeah, I am a little bit hungrier. So with that said, allow yourself to have a little bit more of whatever it is that you want to eat. So if you're still hungry, if you just had a meal and you want another one, have another one. Don't fight yourself on it. With that said, don't have, it doesn't mean that you have, if you had a balanced meal and now you are having double that, and then you're adding extra cheese and extra sauce, and, then you add the donut, and then, you know what I mean? Just allow yourself to eat another meal. With those cravings, allow yourself to explore those cravings. And if you want something chocolatey, if you crave chocolate during your period, allow yourself to have something chocolate. Chocolate will make you happy. It releases serotonin in the brain. It's completely normal to want to have chocolate. With that said, you can have chocolate in many ways. You can make a chocolate protein shake. You could have a chocolate protein bar. You could have maybe a healthier alternative of something like a chocolate yasso bar. Yasso bar is a Greek yogurt frozen bar, basically like a frozen yogurt bar, but it's lower in calories. It's apportioned. It's just a little bit of a more nutrient dense alternative compared to chocolate ice cream. With that said, you can also allow yourself to have chocolate ice cream, but maybe instead of getting a large with all the fixings on top, you are okay with allowing yourself to have a scoop scoop of regular full-blown chocolate ice cream and enjoying that, right? And also too, before, this is like just a tip in general, whether it's PMS cravings or regular cravings, before you decide to indulge in something, whether it be the healthier alternative or the less nutrient dense option, really think about the experience that you want to have with that. Do you want to have ice cream that's on a popsicle stick, or do you want to have ice cream in a bowl, or do you want to have ice cream on a cone? Do you want that ice cream to be obviously ice cream is cold, right? But do you want something warm on top of it, like hot fudge or hot caramel? Or do you want something crunchy on top of it with like a little sprinkle of nuts? Or do you want something, a nice sweet balance, like maybe some fresh fruit on top? Or do you want some whipped cream or a Cool Whip or something about it? And like, how do you want that to experience it? And when you choose to indulge in a way that you're deciding to go for it to be satisfying, you are actually going to feel satisfied when you're finished. Rather than quickly and impulsively making these choices that aren't 100% what you want, it's never going to feel like it's enough, and it's never going to feel satisfied, and you're going to have like something salty, and then you're going to want something sweet, and then you're going to have something sweet, and then you're going to want something salty, and then you're going to have something crunchy, and then you want something smooth, and and you're just going to kind of just go, and you're never really going to feel satisfied until finally you're like so full that you're just like, oh, okay, now I'm done. And then often what happens is you sit with that guilt and regret, and it's just such a vicious cycle. So with that said, allow yourself to have what it is that you're craving. Just be super intentional about how you can find a little bit of balance within that, or kind of like I just released a podcast about this a couple of weeks ago about the number one thing. If I could only give one piece of advice to anyone or anything or do anything, it's to focus on how you want to feel both now and later. And so whatever craving it is that you are coming up with, allow yourself to have that, but be mindful of how you want to feel later. So if you have too much of it, you're probably going to feel sick. If you don't have any of it, you might feel deprived. It depends on the situation. But I think that that's really important. Now, when it comes to feeling tired, I find women really struggle with learning how to slow down, learning how to say no thank you to, people maybe asking them to do things for them, or, maybe working extra hours, or, not being okay with the fact that, maybe you didn't finish the laundry or you didn't finish the dishes, like allowing yourself to be human and know that you could always do it tomorrow. And so I think that the other part to that is really focusing on that self-care, which we talk about all of the time, right? I believe that self-care is not a weekly practice, like you weekly get maybe massages or manis or pedis, or, give yourself a facial, although that can be part of self-care. But self-care is really just like your day-to-day actions of taking care of yourself, setting boundaries, really making sure you're having some quiet time in the morning or at night, or just a moment where you allow yourself to go for a 20-minute walk, or just put your feet up, lay your head down, close your eyes, take 3 big deep belly breaths. Whatever it is, it's really important for you to allow yourself to just like find time for you. So especially when you're PMSing, you're not going to feel well. And everyone's PMS is different. So if it's like really bad where you're like cramping and all that, definitely go to see your gynecologist and make sure that it's not like impacting just like, cause some PMS can be really bad where it's really impacting like you really like you can't even function, like you can't even work. And it's a regular thing where it's almost impossible for you to get through your day. That's a little bit more extreme. And I think in those situations, we need to, consider what your options are for that. But if it's more of just like, oh my God, I'm so tired, I don't feel like doing my workout. Or one person actually asked me, this is a different question, but I got a question recently about, I heard that exercise can help with, the way that you feel in your period, and can help with cramping and bloating. And that's true. That's very true. As much as you don't feel like working out, movement will often make you feel better and will help with a lot of those things that you're experiencing. Even for me, I get really, really bad backaches. And when I work out, it almost like takes away the pain for that hour. I guess it's because of the endorphins. And then, it comes back a little bit after that. But it does help in the moment. And it definitely helps with like bloating and all that stuff. So when she had asked this question, she had said like for her, she really doesn't feel like it. It really is just like not something that she's thinking about. So I told her, if you're really struggling with that, just any movement, like gentle movement, can also help with that. So sometimes doing like a little bit of stretching or yoga, or maybe Pilates or something, but something that's a little bit more, and like an easy one, like a beginner workout, like nothing intense, nothing strenuous, maybe even just like a light walk, some type of movement will often help you. And it doesn't need to be some like high intensity interval training workout or anything like that. Okay. So kind of going back to what I had said to this original question is I had told her, this is my exact words of what I told her. I said, mood changes and cravings during PMS is normal. Up until when you have your period, you're likely to feel extra hungry or tired. Allow yourself to eat more and rest when you need it. And what we advise our clients to do during the time of like their PMS is to really double down on self-care and boundary setting. Okay. And so her follow-up question is, when you say boundary setting in this instance, what do you mean? And so it's really hard when we're not working with a client one-to-one, right? So when we just get random questions on Instagram or social or, email or whatnot, we don't know exactly who we're talking to. And like we said, I don't know if I'm talking to the person that goes to that like F it mindset, or if I'm talking to that person that really just like, is really hard on themselves, and maybe they're not even, giving it as much as they think, and they probably could afford to allow themselves to eat a little bit more and give it a little bit more without the guilt. Like, I don't know who this person is. I don't know their situation. I don't know if they're married. I don't know if they have kids. I don't know what their work life schedule is. I don't know any of that. But all I can give is examples, right? And so when it comes to boundary setting in that instance, it's really hard to know what to advise, like I said, if I don't know your day-to-day, but I just provided her with some examples. So if you're tempted by sweets and you're having trouble managing the amount, so you're that person that has a hard time, just having one and not being able to stop at just one, right? Whether it's like, maybe one or two cookies and you end up having the sleeve of cookies, for example, then it might be helpful for you to maybe speak up to your family or friends who might be bringing them in. So whether they're bringing into the house or bringing them to the office, it's really kind of just telling them, I'm PMSing right now as much as I want this. Like, I just like would rather it not be near me. And if they offer it to you, it's just being really clear and confident that you're going to say, no, thank you. I'm good. Like, I don't want it right now. Right. If you're super tired, then don't say yes to working extra hours. Or don't say yes to helping out with the carpool, or, don't say yes to things. And unless it's like, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a hell no. That's basically it. If someone asks you to do something and you're not like, yes, I will help with that, and you're like, I don't know, I'd have to move this, I have to move that, then I really wish I could, but right now I'm like overwhelmed, or I'm booked, or I'm not feeling 100%, or I just can't. You don't even have to give an explanation. I'm not available at this time. And if it's somebody that you does tend to help you out and you kind of help each other, you could always say, well, I'll help you out on Friday. If it's like, they ask you on a Tuesday or whatever it is. Maybe even sometimes you might need a day off. Like, it's okay to take like a mental health day. You don't actually have to be throwing up or have a fever to take a sick day. It's also okay to just to sometimes just like take the day off and allow yourself to do that. Or take a nap. Naps are great. So I also shared, if you struggle at social situations, you're better off not going to the third one in a weekend, so you reschedule. For example, what I mean by that is that now that the world's opening back up, lots of things are happening, and so you're asked to hang out. If you work Monday through Friday, and Susie asked you to hang out on Friday night, Jen asked you to hang out on Saturday night, and your family wants to hang out on Sunday, you now have no opportunities for alone time or times to recharge. So if you already have plans on, say, Friday and Saturday, and now someone asks you to do something on Sunday, to say, I'd love to see you, but this Sunday doesn't work for me. How about next Sunday? And now that you have something on your calendar for next Sunday, you don't also say yes when someone asks you if they, want to hang out on like that Friday or Saturday. I don't know if I hope that's coming out clear. But all that to say, like, don't overcommit yourself. So even social events, although it seems fun and you feel like you need to make up from last year, like ease your way back into that stuff, because with that comes a lot of the food that you might be having a hard time saying no to, or just like I said, just from an energy perspective, like you're not really recharging and then you're kind of going into the week, or from a physical perspective of, that time when we fill our space, we forget that if we had more space and time, maybe we would go to the grocery store, maybe we would cook a little bit extra food to help get us through the week. So just be mindful that you don't always have to say yes right away. I know it feels uncomfortable and you want to give people an answer. But just allow yourself to say something like, oh, I'm not sure. I'll look at my calendar and we'll get back to you. And then look at your calendar and get back to them. And really, ask yourself, have I been doing something every single weekend? Or is it time for me to find that balance between staying in and going out, and I can actually commit to this one thing? Okay. And then, just in general, another form of boundary setting is if someone asks you to do something that's not 100% convenient for you, just say you're not able to. That's it. Just be clear on what it is that you need for you, and always make sure you're checking in for that. And don't be afraid to give yourself a little extra love. I actually advise you to give yourself some extra love and self-care. And maybe you do in the more specific things, treat yourself to, if, like I said, I get really bad backaches. So for me, I get massages often because I'm obsessed with them, but I'm definitely going to let myself get a massage during my period, just allow yourself to find that balance. With that said, if you really struggle with maybe you don't work out around your period, and then that leads to now you don't work out for a week and you're kind of still struggling with getting yourself quote unquote back on track and getting yourself back into movement, and you feel like you work out once every 2 weeks or so, then it might be kind of giving yourself a little bit more of that tough love. So I think I have shared this, I can't remember in what podcast episode, but I know it was rather recent, where I kind of talked about, for some of you, you might need to be giving yourself more of that Nike mindset, the just do it mindset, and really just get it done. And, whether you feel like it or not, just do it. Whereas the other side of people, where if you kind of go to the extreme with that, it's you might need to give yourself a little bit more compassion and just tell yourself, you know what, it's okay. I actually don't need to do this right now. It's actually okay if I allow myself to take a nap, or if I allow myself to rest, whatever that is for you. At the end of the day, just check in with what it is that you truly need, focus on how you really want to feel and who you are trying to be. And that will help kind of lead you and guide you into the direction that you want to go. So bringing it back to the beginning of what this whole conversation is about, it's how to stay consistent on your period. The other thing that I think is super important that I didn't mention here is if you do not currently track your period, I think a lot of people think that you only track your period if you're trying to get pregnant. No, absolutely not. Track your period. It is going to be so telling to you if you're upset about being bloated, if you're having a bad body image day, if you're extra hungry, if you're having cravings, all these things. Your app, if you get an app, I think there's a bunch of different apps. There's My Period Tracker, there's Flow. I'm sure there's a ton more. None are good or bad, or one's better than the other. All you really need to know is make sure you track your period when it started and track when it ended, and then the app will naturally tell you when you're ovulating, when you're PMSing. All of those things will be in there. And that will help you to understand, okay, this is where I'm a little bit extra hungrier. So it's okay that I allow myself to eat a little bit more because I truly am PMSing. Versus sometimes maybe you're hungry because you're super stressed and it's not real hunger, right? And so the app is just another tool to help us to know, where we're at in our cycle. It'll also help you to see if you're actually regular or not. And that's important, because if you're not having regular periods, then it could be an indication that chances are, one indication is you need to go to your gynecologist and figure out what's going on. The other indication is chances are a lot of people who struggle with irregular periods are often not eating well. And when I say not eating well, that doesn't mean they're not eating healthy. It means that maybe they're either under-eating, or they're overeating, or under-eating on certain foods and overeating on other foods, or there's an imbalance, or there's high stress. There's so many things that affect someone's period. And a healthy period shows and tells us as dietitians a lot that their nutrition is optimal and working, because when you are committed to a healthier lifestyle, when you're mitigating that stress, when you're eating balanced, when you're eating nutrient-dense meals, when you're taking care of yourself and your body, you are going to be at a healthier, you're going to have a healthier cycle. You're going to have a more normal cycle. Are there exceptions to the rule? Absolutely. But without fail, I would say 95% of our clients who come in struggling with irregular periods now get regular periods. It's the majority of you who choose to change your lifestyle into a healthier, more balanced one, and you choose to nourish your body and replace a lot of that criticism with compassion and focus on more self-care. 95, and this is not like an actual statistic, this is just like what I've seen with our clients that come into the program, you will probably get more regular periods. And that's not without taking medication or birth control, although your doctor might advise that, and we would never discourage what your doctor says in regards to medication. But I can tell you that your nutrition, your lifestyle, your relationship with yourself and your body probably has the biggest impact on your period. All right? I know that's a big claim I just made, but I just see it again and again and again. So with that said, if you are someone who struggles with staying consistent when it comes to cravings and energy and your food with your period, if you are someone who maybe doesn't have regular periods, if you are someone who's just struggling in general to commit to a healthier lifestyle and really break that restrict binge cycle, then you might be a good fit for our program. So currently we are taking on clients right now. I have my 2 dietitians, Mary Rose and Casey, who are absolutely incredible. And they're probably, when you're listening to this, almost full. Now, the reason why they're not full yet is because honestly, we've been having technical issues with the website, which has been beyond frustrating, where we cannot figure out why some applications go through and some do not. So if yours goes through, you're in luck. You're probably meant to be in the program, even though we would still have to set up a call to make sure. Chances are you're in luck. With that said, if yours doesn't go through, that doesn't mean that you're not supposed to be part of the program. It just means that if you don't hear from us within 24 to 48 hours, I'm going to need you to message me on Instagram or email me tipswithtony@gmail.com. So make sure so first things first, if you're interested in working with us, you go to www.tipswithtony.com/coaching. There's a video about the program, and then fill out the application below it. Once the application goes through, you should receive an email that prompts you to book your discovery call. If that doesn't happen, reach out to me on Instagram at tips_with_Tony with an I, or email me tipswithtony@gmail.com, and we'll kind of figure out where your application potentially, I don't even say it got lost, it probably just didn't go through. And so I apologize in advance if that happens to you. I know how hard it is to reach out and to finally ask for help, and then to know that you thought you reached out for help and you don't hear from us. That is so disappointing. So I really wish that there was something that we could do. What we are doing is I'm literally in the process of investing in spending way too much money, but it's all worth it to change the whole website. So I'm going to be getting, a whole new site. And so that way, hopefully that we don't come into this problem again, but it will definitely be worth it. So all that to say, please be patient, but at this time we are accepting new clients, and we would love to work with you. So basically you'll go to the application page, you'll fill out the application, we'll hop on a call, make sure it's a good fit. And then from there, I'll pair you with one of the dietitians that I think you'd kind of vibe with better. And that's really it. I oversee the whole process. I'm, there with you alongside you as you work with your dietitian one-on-one, and get to connect with other members in the group is always an option for you as well. If you want to kind of connect with other one-to-one clients, it's a really awesome program. It really is for the people who are struggling with consistency, who struggle with the all or nothing mindset, and are really just learning to figure out what balance looks like for them. All right, so that's what we'll help you do. We'll help you get really clear on your definition of healthy. So what is helping you to be the healthiest version of you, both physically and mentally, and really just provide steps and tools and tricks and support and accountability, lots of accountability to help you get there. So if you're interested in that, go to www.tipswithtony.com/coaching, fill out the application, and let me know when you do so I can celebrate you. All right, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.